Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Rogue Revealed, the series where I take you through everything you need to know about Rogue Company. In today's video it's going to be another map guide for you today, having a look at the requested Favelas. If you do go on to enjoy or find something useful, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, but for now, let's get into it. As always, let's start with having a look at the overview of Favelas. Now, Favelas is actually displayed horizontally here, so you have the defense side spawning here, the attack side spawning here, and then it's your standard kind of 3-lane map again, where you have A side going down here, you have this quite narrow mid lane here, and it's quite long, it basically goes from end to end, and then B side really expands quite a lot to make the 3rd lane. This map also plays around height quite well, where A and the midsection are on lower ground, and then around this sort of area here, towards B and a little bit into the defensive spawn, is a raised platform area where you get some good height on the lower ground. I would say generally this map is built for longer range rogues and for flankers to use some of the longer routes to reposition and get behind the enemy team. Having a look at the main areas of engagement, you can see that quite a lot of the map tends to be quite high profile for fights. If they go to push A, the attacking side, then there seems to be a lot of fighting around here, although sometimes this can extend even further onto the site when they do get the bomb. This particular valley down here is one of those areas that is particularly high interest. It offers very minimal cover but very long lines of sight and a good push route for the enemy team. You also have the main straight down mid. This is really where you want your phantoms or your super long range rogues to be going, and it's also the main flank route for the different points of interest that you'll see in the next little bit. Now at B, you have a lot of fighting going on down in these different garages with different doors that you can open and close and different peak points. There's a lot of crossfire, a lot of angles that you need to learn and get used to, and also a lot of opportunity to use good utility such as flashbangs, grenades, hard breach or smoke grenades to block off lines of sight, push aggressively, or just delay the enemy advancements. Going into the main points of interest, we'll start down here at the south with the valley down at the bottom of A. Now this area is quite unique. I find it is quite low ground with a bit of a ramp system going up, and I find it quite an interesting place to hold long lines of sight. It's great for a zone control rogue to sort of sit near there and not allow them to get there, but it is a very high contention area. I thought it was worth highlighting because it is so crucial, and when I am playing it and when A is being pushed, there's a lot of fighting that goes on down there. You can also plant the bomb just here in this little area and then fall back to the valley to guard it really effectively, and you'll see this a lot from attacking teams as it is a very useful strategy. Going now onto the defender's spawn, there is a spot up here which is a raised platform and looks really well onto A site, I think. This is a great vantage point for you to put somebody if you are planning to leave A and play it on retake, having someone just around there to watch it, give your team callouts of when they're pushing in, and then you can have the high ground to make an advanced play from there. Is quite a good spot, so I would definitely recommend checking this out if you are planning on leaving A little bit, or if you are rotating from B to A. It's a good place to sit and gain a bit of height advantage on your enemies. Down here in the middle, there's actually a zip line. I thought it was worth highlighting because this does offer a good flanking route here on this zip. It goes straight from the bottom up to the A side spawn, allowing you to get that additional height. It is a complete vertical zip and allows you to get behind B quite easily if you're running through mid. Similarly, there is a zip down here as well that goes from the mid map right in the center to the fountain that is placed on the higher ground as you push onto B site. This is a very effective zip as well, although remember that there is a large audio queue, so if there is somebody waiting at the fountain, they will hear you, turn around and most likely kill you. They will also probably put some sort of lethal there, like a ballistic knife or a trip mine, so that they don't get flanked from that position. However, if you are attacking, it can be a really good rotation route or can be a really good flank route for you. It also just highlights this balcony, which can look really well down into the valleys below it and is a great spot for rotations as well. And the last point of interest I want to go over is here, and this is this main garage, and the reason I want to highlight it is mostly because of the different door mechanics that you have. There is also one that goes onto B site itself. There are these different buttons that you can press to open doors, similar into the new map lockdown. It opens the doors and you can reactivate it to close the doors, and there is one on each side, and this can be used really effectively to sort of surprise your enemies with different positionings and different angles that they may not have been expecting when the doors are closed. Going on to the defensive layouts, if you're trying to cover both sites, which I think is generally for most players the better idea to go, playing retake in an uncoordinated team is a bit risky. If you are all on comms, then maybe playing retake on A is fine. But if you're trying to cover all sites, I like this sort of setup, having a zone control rogue in this angle with a longer range rogue here behind the cover that is placed just to the side of B. You have a lot of crossfire there, you can cover a lot of the angles, and the zone control rogue can help slow any enemy advancement down when they do try to push to allow your team to rotate. Similarly, down here on A, you have a zone control rogue hugging right in this little corner down here. You'll see the spot. It's actually quite a nice little spot, and they can zone control onto A and also cover the valley as it comes down, with a longer range rogue sitting up on that platform I mentioned in the point of interest, to have another sort of view on it and a bit of high ground. I think this offers the best positioning generally to defend everything and try and have an idea. This rogue also here can watch the zip if they do decide to flank as well. Going on to how you would actually attack this if you were on the attacking side, I recommend for A sites you do this kind of maneuver, and most of these strategies will include some sort of flank. As always, you want some sort of breach when you are doing this without being a glitch, Dema, or anyone with any good lethal mechanisms to breach onto a site and to flush enemies out. Having the breach here to cover this short angle going into A is generally a good idea, and I would almost always stack 2 rogues going down to the valley. I would never really stack one by themselves unless they're sitting really far back, but if you're planning to push that way, you probably want 2 just to help peak cover fire, because there's only a few spots where you can go into cover, then advance, go into cover, then advance. Having one rogue do the movement, going from one position to the other, and one covering them is generally the better play, and then you coordinate the breach at the same time. Meanwhile, you have your flanker down here going through mid or going through B if you're pretty sure it's clear, potentially going up the zip or coming around to the back position and offering a good flank there to sweep the enemy team. Going on to how you would attack B, this is slightly different. You really want to be playing around the fountain and the main big garage. I would always recommend, again, having this flanker go down mid or down A, again, if you know it's safe. As again, offering some sort of flank really helps flush out in positions. There's not a lot of good breach opportunities anywhere in this map. You can throw a few good grenades, but there's nothing close quarter, like on Icarus, for example. So you kind of need to flush them out with flanks and other methods as well. So you have your flanker going down here, your hard breach probably somewhere near the fountain. Generally, we quite like running glitch here. He can sit by this door, hack any utility that is on the inside, such as a shield or barbed wire or trophies, and then can open the door for the breach. Meanwhile, you have a longer range rogue and another form of breach possibly, or just another longer range rogue sitting in here trying to flush out this garage and also potentially shoot some peeks on anyone trying to cross in the backside. You really want to sort of sweep through, clear these garages, and then push on to be together in a coordinated flank. And if you do that, it's generally pretty good. You have your breach and your long range moving through here. They can shoot up the back. They can shoot into the room with the flank coming around from the side as well. You're really pincering them in, and that's generally the best play. So who are the best rogues? Well, realistically, I think you can play almost every rogue on this map just fine, but I've highlighted some that I think are particularly unique and good for this map. For attack, I've actually chosen to go Shark, and the reason for this is because of his overhill and the ability to breach with his overhill quite safely. There's not a lot of room, as I said, to have a fantastic utility breach, particularly Dema. He's not super useful, and I know I said I really love Dema, and he will probably be in most of these attacks. For Favelas, he's not necessary. He's good, but he's not as good as he is in some of the other maps that have really close quarter combats for you to breach. Shark, however, allows you to overhill with 175 health, run into a room and try and clear it that way, and that just extra health, that extra tankiness, running around a corner can help surprise your enemy, and if they're good, they can 1v1 through the initial damage they'll take from the person peeking around the corner. Moving on to the defense though, I think Trench is fantastic here with his barbed wire, his MXR for the DMR to have a bit of range, and I also think Talon is really good so that you can place your radar dart somewhere down. I was tempted to put him in sort of a versatile section so you could do attack or defense, but realistically you're not going to get as much use out of the dart here on attack as you would in defense, and therefore I think he's just slightly better at defense, having that radar dart somewhere on your flank while you're defending a position, or on the site, watching them come onto the site itself. Into those who I think are quite versatile, Saint, because of the long range nature of the map, revives are a little bit easier to get off. Lancer for her massive flank potential, Phantom for these really long angles down mid, also down either of the sides as well. There's some really good spots either down the valley or just the straight angle across the fountain as well. And Dallas, because I really actually like his reveal on these longer range maps, so you can sort of suss out where some of the enemies are, and his long range potential is also very good. Going into some final tips then to help you sort of play Favelas a little bit better. If you are on attacking side, I have a big tip for you, and that is to be okay with redirecting your route. So what I mean by that is just because you're going to push B at the start doesn't mean you can't re-rotate to then push A. The reason for this is because both sites on their own, when you're 4v4, and if you're too slow at the breach, they will end up being a 4v4, can be really difficult to breach. And you want to be adaptable to then move to the other site where it's a little bit easier because they're not defending it as much. You need to be versatile in this sense, particularly on this map. And for B, it's a really good shout. Because of this mid-zip here, it's really easy to reposition from B site to A site or A site to B site, you can move really quickly around the midsection of the map, and therefore is generally a really good strategy that I think you should keep in mind. For defense though, it's actually very similar. You need to be able to rotate really quickly because of how quickly they can rotate to swap sides. You need to at least have people near a position where you can spot out, and I've given some tips before where I said finding early information is really good, and in this case for this map it is true again. And then my final tip for you is to both watch your flank and yourself try and flank somewhere within your comp. The reason for this is, again, just because these really long angles and these really good routes, you can get a flanker behind and that will absolutely disrupt the enemy team. Not a lot of people are watching for the flank on this map, so you need to be keen-eyed for it yourself, but also make sure you're capitalizing on that lack of awareness that people have on this map a lot because of the different push routes. Okay then guys, it's going to take us to the end of the video, and I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and also comment down below the map that you would like to see next. I've done a few other maps already, so make sure you go search the channel for those guides as well. If you want to see more from me, then make sure you can follow me on twitch.tv/Radthar Gaming, where I do live game commentaries, show you guys some tips, and also play competitively in scrims and tournaments when they do come up. All the links you're going to need are in the description below, but for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll see you in the next video.